could be anywhere right now. Would you be anywhere but here? You're a pawn shop pauper and a fender champ. Tremolo tremble as you drive your amp. Big Eco. Your ears will ring from the drums and amps. Your clothes will smell of cigarette smoke. It's just your wonderful wasted youth. In the darkest night it comes crashing through. Big Eco. Big Eco. The very first song that captured your heart, you could never explain the way it made you feel. And falling asleep, still holding your guitar, you dream that you're having a dream, and the dream that you're having is real. And there's no cure for the stupid. Better to have than to hunger to steal. And there's no truth that's out of reach. Paradise is real and it's within reach. Big Eco. Big Eco. Big Eco.
All right, how you doing? How you doing? Man, very good, very good. Wasn't that, come on, wasn't that good? Very good, thank you, Ralph. Yeah. That's Ralph Covret. We're going to talk to him real soon. Again, he's going to come out and talk to us. But I'll tell you, man, you know, I was thinking, these are real strange times we're living in these days. You know, I guess everybody has, knows about, I guess, Nixon dying, you know. It's a sad thing, you know, something we don't like to hear about, but, you know, I tell you, it's kind of odd. And here's a guy who had I don't know, I guess you could say that his presidency was a success in his eyes, at least until he became a tragedy. But, you know, I think it's a matter that here's a guy, a pretty introverted dude, you know what I mean? And he's the president of the United States. I mean, he does a great job. Think about, I don't know how many people are looking at this who are perhaps over my age that would remember that, say, this was back in the 60s, 70s. But this guy, I think we have to remember him for the kind of man that perhaps he really was, because he did a lot of things for us that I don't think we really are real aware of right now in terms of his foreign policy. Looking at the funeral on television, a real sad state of affairs. Just something to think about. I'll just kind of throw that out to you guys. I think a real great man has left us. But at any rate, we're at Blab, so we're going to talk about blabby kind of stuff. We got a guest with us today. Her name is Miss Pat Olsen. We're going to get her to come on up and talk to us here right now. And I'm sorry, it's Pat Olsen. I said the wrong name. Come on up. You can tell me what your real name is. How you doing, Pat?
Hi.
I'm
Nice
sorry.
to
I
see
didn't
you.
mean
Just
to.
don't butcher my name.
Don't butcher your name. Yes, I'm sorry.
I forgive you.
Good, good, good. Pat is an artist. She does oils. What other mediums do you work in?
Watercolors and pastels.
Is that right? Okay. Why don't we have a seat? We'll talk
right.
about it. Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah. So first of all, tell me, where are you from?
Chicago.
From Chicago?
Third generation Chicagoan.
Is that right? Most of your work's been done here or around here?
Yeah, in fact, the new series I'm working on is all about Chicago.
Oh,
I
really?
think Chicago has an energy and an excitement that some big cities have it, but not everybody has it. It has a pulse and a beat and a warmth to it that I like.
It does indeed. I'm kind of new to the city, and I agree with you that it does have that. And I've been to a few places in the country.
Well, I did a show a couple years ago that called Mother Doesn't Go West of Kedzie. that's my son's statement about me.
Is that right? You don't go west of Kedzie?
Mother doesn't like the suburb much.
Is he a musician? That sounds like a good name for an album.
No, I think I was a failure as a mother because he ended up being, I think, a Republican.
Oh, my God.
We don't mention it too much.
Speaking of Nixon, but I don't know, we're going to be looking at some of your work here in a bit, but tell me, what drew you, I mean, you say you deal mostly, and I think the things we're going to see are in oil, is that correct?
Yes,
what is it about, now I was looking at your things earlier, you have a real way of dealing with light in your art pieces. Tell me, give me some ideas on how you're thinking behind how you use light in your art.
Well, light gives form and it gives volume to it. It's like, for example, if you've ever seen anybody do a, snapshots where they shoot and it's flat because they use this flash, and you wouldn't shoot sculpture that way, you don't shoot people that way. If you're really making a photograph or a painting or anything, you want something that's going to give the illusion of three-dimensional. Because this is what you're trying to do. Artists are magicians. I tell my students, you're God. You can take a gas station if it's in the wrong place, you can move it. The photographer can't do that, but the artist can.
Yeah.
You can slim people down, you can make them older, uglier.
All by light and how you,
Light and how you draw it and what you're doing, because a flat lighting or an underneath lighting, can change you totally.
Excellent. Well, tell me now, I mean, I think that, of course, I'm no artist, and I wouldn't even begin to think that I could
But you're in theater, and theater is the same kind of thing, right?
I think in many ways it is. I mean, it's a communicative, medium,
Yes,
and
it's also narrative in a sense, and I'm being a narrative painter, and being accused many, many times of my work being too theatrical.
Oh, really?
My paintings, yeah, the color is theatrical. I've painted shows and things like that, so it has that. I like a lot of vibrancy, a lot of contrast, and I like a lot of action.
Well, that's very nice. Now, I notice also that your paintings are usually pretty large. I mean, in comparison to what we are accustomed to seeing, say, in
Dan,
museums.
I never see a wall that I think, God, I could do a painting on that.
Is that right? So murals would not be out of your range then. I mean, in terms of what you.
Yeah.
Have you ever done any?
No, but these are all paintings. Because murals you do a little differently. You approach it differently, but it's the same. It's just that I like large spaces. They never had to tell me to fill your space as a kid. It was like, have you got a bigger piece of paper?
Now, let me ask this. You're speaking about being a kid. Have you, what is your training? How did you come into this in terms of learning the art?
Well, like you always know it. I guess, the earliest I can remember is in kindergarten when this other kid had the easel. There was only one easel. We stood back to back on it, and I sort of decked him because I wanted the easel, and he was painting this horrible painting.
Is that right? Is that right?
Yeah, and but as far as formal training, I had really good teachers in grammar school and high school.
Okay.
In grammar school, the art teacher was the math teacher, and I hated math. So you got to do all the artwork. I'll volunteer to do the boards, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And in high school, in those days, teachers that were really qualified, women teachers that were actually had doctorates and had studied in Europe and stuff, but they taught high school. They didn't teach college.
Here's something that you got here. Now, explain this a little bit to us. What is that, first of all?
Well, that's what I did to my students at Columbia. But this is during Sarajevo and stuff, and I call it current crucifixion. And what happened was that they were putting on all these cables for cable television, okay? And I looked at it and I thought, people are watching more and more television and they're not reading and they're not doing anything, and I felt that American youth was being crucified on the altar of television.
That's very interesting. It's very, as I said, it has quite a spiritual connection there.
And I put them up.
Is there another one? We got another one up here?
Yeah, okay, I put, Oh, that's
beautiful.
That's a different one, and that's called Eve's Daughter. And that's a feminist painting, and that's one where she's leaving the diapers and all the rest of it, and she's going for the apples, which are knowledge, and the bird which is a female symbol, is killing the snake, which is a male symbol. Okay.
And she's in cage there. Is that or is
well,
that?
She's climbing out. She's climbing out of the trap. That's one of my students from Columbia also.